My name is Leena Halabi. I am currently a social media journalist with Voice of America. My favorite Mason memory, I was asked to be a panelist at the Russian Olympiada. So the Russian Olympiada is it's this competition that Mason hosts with, I think, a few high schools in Northern Virginia. I think maybe 6 or 7 high schools. They pick high school students who have studied Russian language at their high school, and they're invited to compete in this oral, oral competition. And I was a student of Russian for maybe 3 years, and as when you're studying a language, you're constantly battling with your ego. You're never good enough. You're always learning vocabulary. The Russian is notorious for its very complicated grammar, so you always feel like you're never quite catching up in Russian. And to be asked to be a judge of Russian language was a really daunting experience, but I was like, I got this. Dr. Levine believes in me, so I'm gonna do it. And I will tell you, it was one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had at Mason. I am here because of Mason. that is me. I always knew I was interested in languages, in the multiculturalism in global, diplomacy and political affairs. So I always knew I was interested in that, and I was like, okay, well, let me merge these two, because I needed to have a second language to fulfill my global affairs degree. And when I did the Russian, I fell in love with it to the point where I was like, well, I'm going to major in Russian language as well. So I had both of them, and I wasn't really quite sure how I could merge these in my post-Mason journey. And I was able to travel, do a year-long language immersion program in Moscow, Russia, after Mason. And I was able to do all of these things, back then in 2014, which is kind of unheard of now. It's very difficult now, given the political landscape of, U.S.-Russia relations. It's been very difficult. But having to have that experience back then was, I'm so grateful to have had that back then. And so did the language immersion program, and then also with the help of one of my global affairs professors, Dr. Kathleen Rosano, she said, well, there's this opening at Voice of America if you want to apply. And I applied, and it was an entry level job in the production assistant. It was kind of like transcribing and transcribing speeches, and that ended up being kind of like my foot in the door into my current journalism career. And that paved the way for my current role, which is the social media journalist. And here I am, like 9 years later, and doing the work that I absolutely love through the help of Mason. Always and forever grateful for Mason. I would say connect with the professors. I think all the opportunities that I've had at Mason and post-Mason have been really due to the support of my professors. Their help and support will go such a long way.